your girl Brittany, aka B-Mac, and we back at it again with another video. Today's video, we will be going over this recipe for this peach cobbler pudding, a recipe that I got from Kreations. If you don't know who that is, I will insert her information below, but for now, we're going to get right into it. First, to a skillet on low heat, we are going to add 2 cans of sliced peaches, and I am going to use the juice from both the peaches because it is in light syrup. Next, we're going to go in with this vanilla bean paste. We're going to drizzle it all over those peaches, followed by some nutmeg and some cinnamon. I would say just season to taste because I obviously didn't measure anything. We're going to go ahead and mix that all together before we get ready to add our white granulated sugar. Like I said, sprinkle until your ancestors tell you when to stop. We got a chunk of sugar, so we just add a little bit more. And then lastly, we're going to add some brown sugar. Get that all up in there, and then we're gonna mix that up really well, get it all nice and gathered up together today. yes, and then we're just gonna let that simmer for a few minutes, and as that's going on, we're gonna go into our pudding. Alright, so for our pudding mixture, we're going to add to a bowl 2 cups of whole milk. I know for Kimmy's recipe, she did use 3 cups, but I don't want to make as big of a pie, so I'm going to settle with 2. So next, we're going to go into separating the egg yolks and the egg whites. We need 3 full egg yolks added to this mixture. As you can see, I tried to get a little fancy right here. I tried to use my hand, but I don't like the way that felt, so we going to go back to the regular way. We're just using the eggshell to separate the yolks. Alright, so after we add the 3rd yolk, we're going to go back in with a little bit of that granulated sugar, sprinkle a little bit, followed by some brown sugar, as well as the vanilla bean paste. Gotta love that vanilla bean paste. Adds a great flavor. And then what we're going to do is add a little bit of cornstarch because this is going to help with thickening up this pudding. Look at me sounding like what I know what I'm talking about. I really don't. Anyway, we're going to mix that up really well. I want to make sure that there is no traces of this egg, so whisk, honey. We're going to get a bowl and we're going to transfer those peaches because this is going to sit in the refrigerator for at least 3 hours to cool down. And after that, we're going to take that same pudding mixture on low heat in a non-stick skillet. We're going to go ahead and empty that, and we're going to keep this, like I said, on low heat, whisking very often because we don't want the egg or the sugar to settle to the bottom and burn. So just go ahead and take your time with this one, and yeah, just keep on whisking until it thickens up, of course. Alright, so as you can tell, we are almost there with our pudding mixture. I feel like Kimmy's was a little bit thicker, so I think I am going to go ahead and add a little bit more cornstarch just to thicken it up a tad bit more. But I really did have to move fast because I had waited too long. So let me tell you, this is not sped up footage. This is very much so in real time. I had to whisk, honey, because I did not want this stuff to clump up and get all nasty and I was going to have to start all over. But no, we good. There we go. Yes, nice, smooth, silky, and creamy. Now that our pudding mixture is done, we're going to add this to a glass container / bowl situation, and we're also going to set this in the refrigerator with our peaches to cool out for at least 3 hours. Alright, so moving on to our whipped cream, we're going to add to a bowl 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, and then we're going to mix that up for a little bit before going back in with our powdered sugar and vanilla flavoring. So as you can see, I'm adding about a cup of powdered sugar, going in with a little bit of that vanilla bean paste and vanilla extract, and I'm going to keep whisking this, mixing this up until it gets thick. And I mean, what can we say? Thick like me. Let me tell you. And I'm a little on thick side. Just a little bit, like slim thick. But anyway, go. This is what your whipped cream should look like. It should be thick. It should be stiff. And it tastes good. Alright guys, so as you can see, I am blending up my pudding because as it sat in the refrigerator, I noticed that it did get a little too thick for my liking and it almost clumped up a little bit, so I decided to mix it just to get it silky smooth again. So following that, I'm going to get me a bag and my Bordeaux cookies, and I'm going to empty those into the plastic bag and go ahead and take my pizza dough thingamabooby, and I'm going to use that with the mashing. If you want, you can mash these up to be super fine, or you can leave it so that it's a little bit of chunks. I did leave mine a little chunky. Now to a glass bowl, even though it's not really a bowl, but we're going to add our pudding as our first layer. Go ahead and add down a hefty amount, just because you don't want it to be too thin. You want to lay it on kind of thick. Next, we're going to go in with that peach mixture. Look at that, it's all syrupy. And we're going to just layer that onto our pudding mixture, trying our best to spread it out evenly. Alright, so next we're going to go in with our homemade whipped cream. And now I honestly see why Kimmy used the piping bag. Trying to smear this with the spoon was honestly the most annoying thing that I've done in a very long time. So if you can get a piping bag, I suggest get you a piping bag. Next, we're going to add our smashed cookies for the final layer, and then we're going to repeat this process for another layer. So this was the moment where I realized that this was not a big enough container or whatever for me to be putting this in, and it was definitely going to overflow, but I was committed, so I had to stick through. I had to see it through, my boy. Alright, and lastly, I'm going to use some of the extra syrup from the peaches and drizzle that on top, and I also topped it with a little cherry just to give it a little oomph. And we're going to put it back in the fridge for another hour. Alright, it's time for our big test right here, right now. Let's get enough on that spoon and let's get it busting. Yes. Yup. You see it? It's a hit. Yes. Delicious. Yo, this is coming from somebody who cannot stand banana pudding, but this peach cobbler pudding, definitely a hit. I definitely recommend for any holiday gatherings that you're going to do with the family. Let me know down in the comments below if you tried this recipe or if you plan on trying it. Alright, in the words of Kimmy, alright, bye.